Imagine waking up every morning knowing that millions of people are paying you to take away something they don't even want. Not luxury cars, not designer clothes, not the latest AI software. Garbage. It doesn't sound glamorous. In fact, it sounds like one of the least exciting businesses you could possibly own. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. Some of the biggest waste management companies in America generate billions of dollars every year, and they do it in an industry that's surprisingly difficult to compete with. Think about it. During a recession, people still throw things away. During a housing boom, construction creates even more waste. Businesses, restaurants, hospitals, schools, factories, and office buildings all need trash collected whether the economy is booming or struggling. In many ways, garbage is one of the few products that's guaranteed to exist tomorrow. But if trash is everywhere, why isn't everyone rushing to start a waste management company? Because collecting garbage is actually the easy part.
Making money from it is where the real economics begin. Let's say you wanted to build your own waste management company from scratch. Maybe you picture buying a few garbage trucks, hiring some drivers, and collecting trash around your city. Sounds straightforward. Until you start looking at the numbers. A single modern automated garbage truck can easily cost between $300,000 and $450,000 depending on the equipment and technology installed. And one truck isn't enough. To serve even a medium-sized city efficiently, you'd likely need an entire fleet. Then come the drivers. Commercial licenses, ongoing training, competitive wages, insurance, fuel, maintenance, replacement parts, safety inspections, the costs never stop. And that's before you've collected your first bag of trash. Most people assume garbage companies make their money by charging homeowners every month. That's only a small piece of the business.
The real money comes from commercial contracts. Imagine a large shopping center with dozens of stores. Every restaurant, grocery store, clothing retailer, and coffee shop produces waste every single day. Instead of paying once, they're paying every week, sometimes every day, for reliable collection. Now multiply that by thousands of businesses across an entire region. That's recurring revenue. And recurring revenue is one of the most valuable things any business can have. Investors love predictable cash flow because it reduces uncertainty. Waste management companies often sign multi-year service agreements, meaning customers don't simply disappear overnight. But here's where the business gets even more interesting. Most people think waste companies are competing over who can collect trash the cheapest.
They're not. The biggest competitive advantage isn't collecting garbage, it's controlling where that garbage ends up. Imagine two identical companies operating in the same city. Company A owns dozens of trucks, but has to pay another business every time it dumps waste into a landfill. Company B owns the trucks and owns the landfill too. Every load collected generates collection revenue. Then that same load generates landfill revenue. The same garbage gets monetized twice. That's vertical integration, and it's one of the biggest reasons industry leaders have become so profitable over time. Owning a landfill isn't easy, though. Finding suitable land is difficult. Environmental studies can take years. Permits are heavily regulated. Local communities often oppose new landfill projects. Construction costs can reach hundreds of millions of dollars before accepting a single truckload. Ironically, those obstacles actually help existing companies. Why? Because they create enormous barriers to entry. If almost nobody can build a competing landfill nearby, existing operators gain pricing power over time. That's something investors pay close attention to. But landfills aren't just giant holes in the ground anymore. Modern facilities are engineered systems with liners designed to protect groundwater, drainage systems to collect liquids, monitoring equipment, and methane gas collection infrastructure. That last part turns out to be surprisingly valuable. As organic waste decomposes, it naturally produces methane gas. Years ago, much of that gas simply escaped into the atmosphere. Today, many landfill operators capture it.
Some burn it to generate electricity. Others refine it into renewable natural gas that can be sold as fuel for trucks, buses, or industrial customers. In other words, yesterday's garbage can become tomorrow's energy source.
That's a revenue stream many people never see coming. And it's a perfect example of how waste management has quietly evolved into a sophisticated infrastructure business rather than just a transportation business. But here's the twist that surprises almost everyone. Even landfill ownership isn't always the most valuable asset, because the most profitable companies aren't really selling trash collection, they're selling convenience. Think about your own neighborhood. How often do you think about your garbage pickup? Probably almost never. That's exactly the point.
The best waste management companies become invisible. The truck arrives on schedule. The bins are emptied. Life moves on. Customers aren't paying for garbage removal, they're paying for the certainty that they never have to think about it. And that simple promise creates something incredibly powerful in business: habit. Once a neighborhood, office building, manufacturing plant, or city government has a reliable provider, switching becomes surprisingly inconvenient. Contracts have to be renegotiated. Schedules change. Equipment may need replacing.
Employees need retraining. For many customers, staying with their current provider is simply easier than changing. That customer stickiness creates a competitive advantage that's much stronger than flashy advertising. And yet, despite all of these advantages, owning a waste management company isn't nearly as simple or as profitable as it first appears. Because hidden beneath every garbage truck, landfill, and recycling center is a financial challenge that determines whether the business quietly prints money or slowly buries itself under its own costs. So where does the money actually go? Let's build a simplified example. Imagine a regional waste management company serving 50,000 residential customers and several hundred commercial clients. If residential collection averages around $35 per month per household, that's roughly $1.75 million in monthly residential revenue, or about $21 million per year before considering commercial contracts. Now add restaurants, apartment complexes, warehouses, hospitals, schools, office buildings, construction companies, and manufacturing plants. Commercial customers often pay significantly more because they require larger containers, more frequent pickups, or specialized waste handling. Depending on the customer and service level, contracts can range from hundreds to thousands of dollars each month. Suddenly, annual revenue might climb well beyond $60 million. Sounds incredible, but revenue isn't profit.
Not even close. Fuel prices can swing dramatically from one year to the next. A fleet of dozens of heavy trucks consumes enormous amounts of diesel every day. Maintenance is relentless. Hydraulic systems wear out, tires need replacing, engines require servicing. Even a single truck sitting in a repair shop means another vehicle has to cover its route. Labor is another major expense. Drivers aren't easy to replace, especially because operating commercial waste vehicles requires specialized licenses and experience. Companies also compete for mechanics, dispatchers, safety managers, route planners, equipment operators, and environmental compliance teams. Then there are insurance costs.
Garbage trucks spend all day driving through neighborhoods, business districts, and construction zones. More miles on the road mean more exposure to accidents, making insurance a significant operating expense. And that's before accounting for landfill operations, recycling facilities, environmental monitoring, taxes, and regulatory compliance. This is where many people misunderstand the industry. Waste management isn't a high-margin business because every trash pickup is incredibly profitable. It's a high-volume business where efficiency compounds over thousands of pickups every single day. 1 extra minute on every route may not sound important. Multiply that across hundreds of trucks operating 300 days a year, and suddenly you've lost thousands of labor hours and burned thousands of extra gallons of fuel.
That's why modern waste companies invest heavily in technology. Today's trucks often use GPS-guided routing, onboard computers, cameras,
and software that optimizes pickup schedules to reduce unnecessary driving. Some companies even use sensors inside commercial dumpsters that monitor how full they are. Instead of emptying every container on a fixed schedule, pickups can be adjusted based on actual demand. Fewer unnecessary trips, lower fuel costs, higher productivity. Small improvements become millions of dollars over time. But here's something even more surprising. Recycling isn't always the profit machine people imagine. Many assume every bottle, can, and cardboard box generates easy money.
The reality is much more complicated. Recyclable materials have market prices that rise and fall just like oil, steel, or wheat. When demand for recycled plastic or paper is strong, recycling facilities can generate healthy returns. When commodity prices fall, processing those same materials may become far less profitable, and in some cases, operating costs can exceed the value of the recovered material. That means successful waste company on a single revenue stream. Instead, they diversify: residential collection, commercial collection, construction debris.
Landfill operations, recycling, hazardous waste services, renewable natural gas. Some even provide consulting services to businesses trying to reduce waste and improve sustainability. Each business line supports the others, and that's what makes the largest companies so resilient. There's another economic advantage hiding in plain sight. Demand for waste collection is remarkably stable. People may postpone buying a new car. They might delay remodeling their kitchen. Businesses can reduce advertising budgets. But nobody can simply stop producing waste. Families still cook dinner, restaurants still serve meals, factories still manufacture products, hospitals continue operating 24 hours a day. Garbage keeps showing up. That steady demand gives the industry something investors love: predictable cash flow. It's one reason many waste management companies have historically been viewed as relatively defensive businesses during economic downturns. While no industry is immune to changing conditions, essential services often experience less dramatic swings in demand than many discretionary industries. Of course, the future of the business is changing. Landfills are gradually becoming energy facilities. Artificial intelligence is improving route optimization. Electric garbage trucks are beginning to appear in some fleets, potentially reducing fuel and maintenance costs over the long term, although they require significant upfront investment. Automation is also expanding inside recycling plants, where advanced sorting systems can identify different materials faster and more consistently than manual methods. The companies that adapt these technologies may improve efficiency and strengthen their competitive position over time. But perhaps the biggest lesson has nothing to do with garbage at all. It's about human behavior. The most successful businesses aren't always the ones selling exciting products.
Sometimes they're solving problems that people never want to think about: clean water, electricity, internet service, and yes, taking away the trash. Customers rarely wake up excited about paying their waste collection bill. They're paying for peace of mind, for clean neighborhoods, for businesses that can keep operating, for cities that continue functioning every single day. That's why this industry has quietly become one of the most dependable cash-generating sectors in the American economy.
It doesn't rely on viral trends. It doesn't depend on blockbuster product launches. And it doesn't need customers to upgrade every year. It simply performs an essential service over and over again with remarkable consistency. So the next time you hear a garbage truck rolling down your street early in the morning, remember this: you're not just watching someone haul away trash. You're watching a carefully engineered logistics network, an infrastructure business, an environmental operation, an energy opportunity, and a recurring revenue machine, all working together behind the scenes. It's proof that in business, the most profitable opportunities are often hiding in the places most people overlook. And that's the real economics of owning a waste management company. If you enjoyed breaking down the business behind everyday industries, consider subscribing. There are countless ordinary-looking businesses with extraordinary economics, and we'll uncover how they really make money, one industry at a time.